So, would you believe that? Because the topic is prom, because we're watching Grosse Point Blank.
which is a John Cusack film, one of the seminal Hollywood Gen X films of the 1990s.
And we really like it. I really like it.
Where
Although I never saw it back then.
Well, I showed it to her. It's a favorite film of mine and my good friend Nameka Bilso. And it's about a hitman who goes back to his 10-year high school reunion. So Evie started thinking about prom because of Grosse Point Blank.
And you went to 3 proms.
Yeah, they weren't any
Can you believe
big deal.
the first boy I asked, or I asked someone to ask for me, he said no.
Yes, you told me that story. You were rejected.
But I immediately thought of someone else who I had met in Alabang by accident. And then we made a little drawing and deposited the letter at his house, and we ran away. And then he said yes.
Well, at least, from rejection to
But I had to share him.
acceptance.
So it was a threesome.
Yeah, that's disturbing.
It was weird. I had to go borrow my driver, pick up my friend. It was my car. It was everything. I organized everything.
I
Wow.
don't think that's ever been done before. A prom where two girls are sharing one
And
guy.
then my friend helped me with my hair and makeup.
That's
And then my sister, inaway niya ako. I don't know why.
that's like a polyamorous or
But I designed
throuple
my
relationship.
dress, the whole thing, the whole shebang. For me, it was like, as usual, a fashion thing. It was more about that. But I remember my friend was so amazed that I had the longest crush on somebody, and then he said no. And then immediately I thought of somebody else. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But can you believe nobody wanted to go with me? I had to share my date. I had to pick him up. I had to pick my friend up. I had to pick everybody up using my car, my driver.
Well, you were like one of those.
And it was my driver's first night with us, so it was like horrible for him.
Well, you were like in the film Bad Teacher. What did Cameron Diaz say to the character? College will be your
College
time.
was my time.
College will be your time. It's not your time.
But I was proud because I booked the hair and I did the hair and makeup with my friend all by myself. I designed the dress, went all the way to my other aunt, Tita in Cubao, to have it made, and I designed the whole thing myself, and I made the drawing, and I got the sample, and I got the tela all by myself. And I was high school. I was like doing all this stuff for my prom and my senior ball. I designed everything myself and got the tela myself, did everything myself. And I realized I was only 16 or 17 doing everything myself. Not like now, kids, I think now parang the parents do everything for them, and I'm like, I did everything myself.
Yeah.
Even booking your own hair and makeup or whatever, I had to do everything myself.
Because, well, you know why.
Well, my mom wasn't around, but my sister wasn't much help either.
Yeah.
So my friends would help me or whatever. But I don't know. It was weird. But I thought I would be devastated. But actually, yeah. What is that? College was our time.
College was your time.
Because
or maybe...
for getting dates. Because parang in high school, wala talaga. Everybody else knew how to date and I didn't.
No, you know why. Because both our backgrounds were contributing factors to our...
Yours was the bullying and...
Bullying by...
Mine was a horrible home life.
Yeah,
I
horrible
think.
home life and bullying contributed to not, the confidence, lack of confidence and lack of...
Confidence factor. But I
Confidence
didn't know
factor.
pala. I asked the wrong boy. I
Well,
should have asked somebody else.
maybe you didn't
There
like
were a lot
your-
of other boys I could have asked who would have said yes. I just didn't know.
Maybe you just didn't know.
I just didn't know until
I didn't know
many
either.
years later.
I didn't know either. Many years later.
Yeah.
Or some years later.
So voila, it's just for the kids who think that they're rejected now. Don't realize college is your time.
College is your time,
or
or
early adulthood.
maybe
is your
even your
time.
20s is your time. So don't feel...
Oh, 20s was my
bad.
20s was my time because the moment I started, I didn't know how to date, but the moment I started dating, tuloy-tuloy na. You get the hang
And
of it.
plus you don't want to peak in high school.
Yeah, you don't.
Or peak in college also.
20s and 30s was my time. It's okay that I didn't have much of a teenage love life.
We were talking about prom because in the film there's an important sequence
The
related
best
to
scene
prom.
for me is that the guy who stood her up.
Spoiler.
Oh, don't tell na lang.
Don't tell her. But there's an important backstory as well as a scene related to prom between the lead star John Cusack, one of the again iconic Gen X actors, playing the hitman, and then he meets his long lost, not really lost, but long unseen love.
He seen her. He ghosted her.
Yeah,
In this language, it would be ghosted, but he just didn't show up at prom, right?
Yeah, well, you just spoiled it. But anyway,
Never mind. That's not the point. It's
Never-
how they see each other.
yeah,
again.
it's really one of the really nicely written and nicely acted sequences of how you would
Guwapo
deal
pala
with
si John
somebody.
Cusack. I just didn't see this film. A lot of people saw this film, and I never saw it until now. It's like I spent the whole pandemic watching all the films I never got to see
Well, I've
for
been
some reason.
like what Dad used to do for me. I'm introducing you to films you've never seen before from our
Well,
generation.
I think I got cable only when I was in my 20s. I didn't have cable. Was it in cable? When you
No,
saw
I
it?
didn't see it on cable. This is all from
Betamax.
bootleg shops in Bacolod, bootleg.
Oh, I didn't get to
bootleg
see
shops.
any of that.
And of course, cable mentioned it only like MTV Video Music Awards, MTV Movie Awards, and it was a hit. It was a hit at the time, and
There was a lot of things I missed out
Um,
on before. Either I was broke, or we just didn't have cable, or
Yeah.
I just couldn't go see something. I don't know.
I guess it shouldn't be a generalization to say that they don't make movies like Grosse Pointe Blank anymore nowadays. But the problem is they don't show them in theaters. What they do show now is all those blockbusters. They don't
But
show any more
before that,
movies
the
like
movie we were watching was very good also.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
The one with
starring Michael Caine, Steve Martin, and Glenn Headley.
who was good too.
It was
the girl.
good too, yes.
About the con artist.
Con Artist. It was remade later on in a very bad remake with bad acting with Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson. I don't even remember who played
But I
the
guessed at the end.
Yeah, you guessed at the
twist.
end. The twist at the end. But it's still a good film because
They don't write films like that anymore.
they don't even write them anymore.
They don't act like that anymore. It was really funny, like really funny. If you're looking for a Friday night fun movie.
Yeah, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is a pretty good classic. Great.
But I recommend it with pizza because we didn't have pizza actually. Usually
it's
we have
okay.
pizza.
You wouldn't think that Steve Martin and Michael Caine wouldn't be able to work together, but they worked together beautifully, played off each other beautifully in chemistry and the different characterizations. Glenn Headley was pretty darn good too as the third member.
But I think going back to Grosse Pointe Blank, it's one of the top 10 Gen X movies, right?
Yeah, I think if you look at maybe Gen X lists
lists.
on the
It's
internet,
a top 10
it's a top 10
favorite
film.
for a lot of Gen Xers.
Yeah, Gen Xers. A film from the 90s.
Because of the music, and the
Yeah,
mood,
the music.
and
Because John Cusack.
the dark humor.
Plus, remember the film was produced by John Cusack's production company at the time, so he has the lead, and plus he has a supporting role for his sister Joan
Yeah.
in the film. Again, one of those films from the 90s that people don't remember, but it's pretty darn good if you revisit it. It's still good. It still works. And it's a commercial mainstream film, but very well done, very enjoyable, very entertaining to watch. If you don't really want to, But it also has some interesting scenes and very nostalgic if you're thinking about your high school reunion.
But don't make such a big deal about prom. I had a friend named Riza who was so cool. She was too cool for prom. She was so used to going out at night that by then she didn't care about going to prom. Like, she just didn't go.
I don't even know if prom is prom still a big thing among kids
in
now?
America, I think it is.
I mean,
But
right now among kids now in the
I think it's still a big
Philippines.
deal. Prom is always going to be a
For the
big
Burgess,
deal.
is it a big thing for the Burgess?
Private schools, yeah.
Or maybe, do non-Burgess have proms?
I believe in rituals and traditions because it's still a growing up ritual and it's like a date thing. But for me, it would have been awkward. For others, they already knew how to date or how to be around boys. But you and I were late bloomers.
Yeah, it was pure awkwardness on my part.
Mga bookworm kami. So, I was living my head in books and I didn't know that you had to take your head out of the books and experience life. And then stick your head back into the book.
Plus the abusive, especially your abusive home life and the bullying on my part. contributed a lot to that.
Huh.
But on my end, yeah, I had three different proms because back in the day it was always between La Salle and Saintsco in Bacolod, and then I shouldn't have probably had gone to the first one, but it was my first cousin who set that up with her classmate, whose name I won't mention in other respect. Nice lady, nice girl, but it wasn't.
I like her name.
It was really more just of a prom date. Really, there really
But you
was.
didn't have
There really
fun.
was no
I
attraction,
had fun at
and
my,
plus
I
there's
had
no,
fun at my prom.
and there was no fun parts I remember.
I have pictures. I had fun with my friends, and it was fun. It was just a thing. No expectations about. I think in America they put too much expectations on the prom.
I think the problem was there
For
was
me,
no.
it was just a fashion moment.
There was no chemistry. I think even with the people I dated those 3 times, there was no chemistry. The closest maybe to chemistry was the last one, the third one when I was fourth year. That was the closest one to any kind of chemistry. But there's also a funny backstory, which I cannot talk about in public out of respect to the people involved.
Yeah. Anyway, Grosse Pointe Blank and what was it?
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Scoundrels. Which is a film you might think is misogynistic because they target women, but
No.
actually later on, I mean, those are, sorry, the PC culture, cancel culture kids now. It's a fun film, just enjoy the films.
Okay.